Good evening, everyone. Hope you can hear me all right. Microphone still working well. So I'm going to dive straight in tonight. Beliefs. I haven't really talked about beliefs that much, just not directly anyway, over for a little while. So one that popped up today, I was watching some YouTube videos on self development type stuff, and one popped into my head kind of as I was watching this is you don't always get what you want. Okay, because that's a very commonly held belief. Okay, we tell our kids that you don't always get what you want. Okay, so that's going to be a belief that's going to be have been kind of driven home um, from a very young age, probably from age 1 or 2. But when babies pop out, they always get what they want. Okay, pretty much, or at least they should. Okay, they always get what they want. Okay, they scream, they get what they want. Okay, so cuddle, it's milk, it's changed nappy, it's whatever it is. Okay, it's a nap, whatever. Okay, baby's pretty simple. They've got kind of 3 or 4 needs, and you just kind of got to run through a list until you hit the right one. Okay, um, and kind of alongside the belief of you don't always get what you want, it's like, well, you might if you practice enough, if you take enough time, if you put enough effort in, if you struggle for long enough, if you do all these things, okay, A, B, C, D, E, F, G, okay, maybe you get what you want. Okay. But even though you do A, B, C, D, E, F, G, etc., you still might not get what you want, but you'll be a lot closer. And I'm sure I've said that actually. Okay, even if you shoot for the moon, and even if you miss, well, you're going to be a lot closer than you were. Okay, which is not a bad thing. Okay, I'll still say shoot for the moon. Okay, be delusional. Hey, there was a whole training session on being delusional a while back. Um, so, and this is kind of about manifestation. Okay, it's about getting the things that you want in life. Okay, so I've got a few notes here. The universe is always giving you what you want and what you need. Okay, so we might look around our life and go, right, I don't have all of the things that I want. My car is beaten up. My body is not doing, it's not doing exactly what I want it to. I can't run X distance in Y time, and I can't do this and I can't do that, and my body's doing this and my knees are saying that, and my back's saying this and my shoulder's saying that, and there's this pain, and there's my kids are sick, and or my kids are like this, and my partner's like that, and my work life is like this, my bank balance is blah blah. Okay, but the universe is always showing us what we believe about ourselves. Okay, what we believe to be true. So in a sense, you are always getting what you need, even though it doesn't look like you need it. Okay, it doesn't feel like you need it. You're always getting what you need, because those are the signposts to say, look, because my life is this way, this must be my belief. My belief is that it's hard. My belief is that I don't get what I want. My belief is that I need to struggle and strive and work hard to get the things that I want. And even then, I might not get them. It's my belief that aging and joints and all those kinds of things about aging and certain aches and pains, you just get them as you age. Your hair falls out, or it thins. Okay, and I'm sitting here doing this with thinning hair. Okay, again, that's been just a long-seated belief that I've never, like really tried to change. Um, Maybe I will, maybe I won't. It doesn't significantly bother me in the slightest about my hairstyle. It's completely irrelevant to me. Okay, but could it be possible to change? Don't know, maybe. Okay, but yes, it is what you need because it's showing you what your beliefs of wanting are. Why did I put that? It's what you need because it is always showing you what your beliefs. It's showing you what your beliefs are. Um, and then, in a sense, that's a sign to change the belief. Okay, to look for the belief that's holding you back. I saw another thing. It was Stephen Bartlett. on a he was on somebody else's podcast for once, um, and there was this clip of an ant on a piece of paper, and somebody drew a circle around the ant, and the ant wouldn't cross the line. And you could make the circle smaller and smaller and smaller, and the ant wouldn't cross the line unless by some kind of accident, when the person was drawing the line, it kind of um, it became so small that the ant kind of accidentally reached a leg out and touched over the line. And then it realized, hang on a minute, I'm not trapped by this line. It's so we've got all these kind of invisible barriers that we've created in our life about beliefs um, through things that we've learned. Okay, they're invisible barriers. Okay, but they seem very real. Okay, because we've got a bunch of evidence to show us, oh no, I can't hit through that glass ceiling. I can't do this thing. I can't do that thing. Look, I'm going to go out for a run at 5K, and do you know what? At 3K, I'm going to have to stop and walk. Hey, I get up in the morning, and yet my back still hurts. I'm going to get up in the morning, and oh yeah, my knee still hurts, and I'm going to get up in the morning, and oh yeah, my shoulder's still knackered, and I can't do that. Okay, so we've got this whole files and files of evidence in our life saying, oh yes, what I believe, this is true. Okay, but it is just a line on a piece of paper, and we've kind of seen the evidence so many times, we think it's true. Okay, and I want you to question, okay, hang on a minute. Is what I'm believing here true? Okay, so the main belief I want to work on tonight is that you don't always get what you want. Okay, you don't always get what you want. Okay, I'm saying you always get what you want. It's just sometimes the things that we're getting we're getting them because we need them, and they're showing us the signpost of, hang on a minute, you believe that life is this way. What if it's not? Hey, you believe in aging, you believe in I don't know, all of these things, okay, about money, about family, about kids, about partners, about, okay, we've got all these kind of difficulties in our life. We've got these beliefs, okay? Cool. So yeah, tonight's effort, okay, or non-effort, effortless effort, is going to be on, I can always get what I want, okay, and working on the barriers to the doubt, the lack of faith, the trust um, that we don't have. Is that the right way of putting it? Or we have in not getting what we want. Okay, we always get what we want. Always. Um, when your child or a niece or a nephew or whoever it is, they want an ice cream. They say, "I want an ice cream," and you would like usually to give them an ice cream. Maybe you would, maybe you wouldn't. Okay, it depends. I am trying, and have often tried, when the kids say I want something, to give it to them, because it then starts to create the belief of I get what I want. Okay, and if we can start thinking, okay, yeah, I'm going to get my goal, the thing that I want, I'm going to get that. I don't know how, but if I want it, I'm going to get it, and it's going to come to me faster and easier than I would hope. Oh, that's I was going to talk about this as well, which I didn't write notes on. So, alchemy, the kind of the science, the kind of I suppose pseudoscience of turning lead into gold. Okay, that was what alchemy is kind of famous for. It's like, can we turn a base metal, something that is abundant in the earth's in the earth's crust, that we can easily just kind of essentially just pick out the ground, and turn it into something that is much more valuable. One way I heard of it a while back, but I got this thing reminded me of it today, is that basically our thoughts are lead. Okay, there's this really common material that is just there all the time. It's all over the place. Lead. Okay, lead. Okay, not super valuable. But what we do when we start choosing our thoughts, being more intentional with our thoughts and our words. Okay, so let's call it thoughts and words. Okay, when we start to be more intentional with our thoughts and words, we start turning the lead into gold. Okay, we start speaking ourselves healthy. We start speaking ourselves happy in relationships. We start speaking ourselves into promotions. We start or thinking, rather than having the thoughts of, oh, I made a mistake, I'm going to get fired. I'm going to have to start looking for another job. Okay, we have thoughts of, oh, I'm really successful at my job. Someone's going to headhunt me and start paying me double what I'm getting paid now. Okay, and so we can start. We're always getting what we want. So someone who has those thoughts regularly, if I've made a mistake, or I wonder what kind of punishment my boss will give me, what kind of extra work or what kind of extra training that I don't really have time or I don't really want to do, is going to prevent me getting promotions or a bonus or whatever it might be in your job role. We start thinking those thoughts, and then lo and behold, those things maybe start to happen. Maybe they don't, but maybe they do. Um, but if we start thinking thoughts of promotions and extra pay and being headhunted, we're starting to turn those thoughts into gold. Okay, we're turning the lead into gold. Okay, and perhaps the old tales of alchemy were more metaphysical rather than physical, and that's what they were talking about. That's what these old kind of medieval and earlier texts are kind of talking about. So let's turn some lead into gold. Okay, let's turn the belief that I always get what I want. I don't always get what I want. Okay, or I never get what I want. Into something like I always get what I want. Okay, because you are always getting what you want. It's just things you don't necessarily know that you want. Okay, it's things that you need because they're showing you the signpost of, oh, this is my belief. This is a lead belief. It's taking me down. So rather than the gold belief, or let's call it a helium belief, maybe, that's going to bring you up. Okay, maybe we want turning lead into helium, or lead into hydrogen, something that's lighter than air, something that's going to raise you up. So I'll just pause for a moment. Okay, so if you haven't found yourself somewhere nice and peaceful and quiet, please go and do that now. And take some nice, steady, deep breaths. And in this session, we're going to turn some lead into gold or helium. Something that either weighs you down and is abundant everywhere, or into something that's going to raise you up and is much more valuable. And work on the belief of, I don't always get what I want, or I never get what I want. Because in truth, we're always getting what we want and need. We're always getting directed to the truth of our thoughts, the truth of our beliefs. And it's so that we can change them, so that we can recognize them. It's just unfortunate that sometimes those beliefs lead to pain and suffering and difficult situations. And tricky events. To help us to uncover our beliefs so that we can change them. having a conversation earlier about aging and how when I was in my kind of mid to late 20s and in the army, I felt old. It wasn't just because of the physical strain of the job. It wasn't hugely physically stressful, but it was fairly. But I was around a lot of people who were younger than me. A lot of people would be in the army for 5 or 6 years. They'd join at 17 or 18, maybe 19 years old. They'd be in for 4, 5, 6 years and they'd be gone. And there was actually very few in comparison kind of older people in the army. And even if you did get older, you retired in your probably early 40s. So kind of anyone who was over 30 in the army was old, which seems crazy to think. And you're not even a third-ish of the way through life, and you're considered old. So there was this psychological component of being in the army. Just because you're around people of a certain age, and most of them were younger. But since then, since kind of being in the real world, where there are other adults, start to realize kind of how young I am. And even if many of you may be 5, 10, 15, 20 years older than me, don't buy into the aging myth. Okay, because there are people your age and older who may have been through just as much, if not more. They are capable of doing many things that perhaps someone very much younger cannot do. And it's a question of belief. A belief that you can change, a belief that you can always get what you want. I want you to be slightly delusional here. Shoot for the moon. Let's say you've got a painful knee or a sore back, and some other injury. Maybe it's relatively major, maybe it's relatively minor, but perhaps been going on for a long time. But set your goals higher than the knee or the shoulder or the back or whatever it might be. Set the goal, set the want for I want perfect health. Every cell in my body works in complete harmony. The timings of all of my hormones are firing correctly. Sleep hormones, sex hormones, waking hormones, happy hormones, and all the other hormones and chemical processes in my body work in perfect timing. All of my digestive rhythms worked perfectly. My bones, my tissues, muscles, tendons, ligaments relax and tighten to give perfect posture and gait for walking or running or any kind of movement pattern that I choose to use. Okay, we're speaking gold here. Always aim for the highest. Okay, I want perfect health, and I can have it now. There's no need to wait 6 months, a year. I don't need complicated exercise and movement programs to change my body. I can choose through thought, through desire, to change my body instantly. And you've proven this to yourselves before by standing upright, reaching down for the ground, and then standing back up again, and then telling yourself that you're strong and flexible a few times, and then reaching down for the ground again. And just about everyone reaches further, if not a lot further. Just through choosing different thoughts, different words. I always get what I want. Just notice in your body where you feel like that's resisted. Where do you feel like you don't fully believe that statement? Could be anywhere. All you need to do is notice that there's a part of you that doesn't fully believe that you always get what you want. There's no need to do anything. There's no need to change anything. Just be still, breathe, and allow that place to be. And fighting it will only make it stronger. It will only make the invisible barrier harder to break through. And as you notice the barrier, and as you allow it to be there, you can notice it soften. Maybe it starts to break apart and float away. Maybe it melts. Maybe it's still there, just as strong as it was, or seemingly. No matter what's happening, just stay with that area of the body that's resisting. I always get what I want, and I get what I want without delay. Just feel the energy of your body rising up. Feel the heat. Feel the heat of your cells as they continue to work perfectly from the goal we set in motion earlier. Okay, I want perfect health. If I want my chakras to align, they will, and they'll do it now. My meridians are working in complete harmony. Any other energy system of my body that I'm aware of or not aware of aligns and works in complete harmony. State it as a command. State it knowing, or just with an ounce of faith. Just a seedling of faith. That's fine. You can allow it to grow. You don't need permission to change your body. You don't need a special diet, a special training program. You need a command. Just like you've given it the command of strong and flexible, give it the command, I get what I want without delay. And you can ask for anything, or not ask. You can command anything. Okay, pink elephants will not fall out of the sky. And when you think about pink elephants, so without delay, there may be a delay. It's not going to be instant. It still may take a little bit of time. But by commanding it to happen, you will shorten that time frame significantly. My body heals in perfect ways, quickly and effortlessly. Have a little think about something outside of your body that you might like. Maybe you've been thinking of for a while. Maybe it's just, and you thought maybe you'd never get it, or it would be really hard, it's a long way off. Whatever it might be, car, house, promotion, or just a different job. So you're going to start a phrase with I want, and then whatever it is, easier, faster, and better than I could have expected, and without delay. And then with that last bit, just feel as if you've got it. Feel the relief. Feel the freedom. Feel the joy, the peace or the happiness of having got what you wanted. Just know in this session that you are breaking down the barriers between you and the things that you desire. Not just the things that you've thought about tonight, but all of the things that you've thought, oh, I'd really like that. Oh, that would be nice if I had those things. It'd be really lovely to have that holiday or whatever it might be. Okay, things that you've forgotten that you wanted. They can start showing up too. Things that you've maybe given up on in the past. You've gone a certain way towards it, and then you've gone, oh, you've run out of time, you got an injury, whatever might have happened, something changed in your life and you stopped going for it. Maybe this is the trigger to start again. Maybe this is the trigger for that thing or event to just happen for you. Just notice again, as I say, the belief. I always get what I want without delay. I always get what I want without delay. Think it with a bit of confidence. Say it with a bit of belief. I want to say these things meekly, as if we don't believe what we say. So say it as if you believe it. I always get what I want, and it comes without delay. Okay, the universe is always giving to us. It's giving to us what we believe we deserve. It's giving to us our predominant thoughts. And the way to change what the universe is always giving to us, because it's always giving, is to change our predominant thoughts. It's to choose new ones. It's to notice the ones that we don't desire. It's to notice those negative thought patterns and realize that I don't want that anymore. Stop thinking that. And command your brain to do that. Command your body to do that. Each time I notice a thought that I am not desiring, a thought process that takes me down a negative road, I'm going to notice that and let it go. There's no need for tears. There's no need for suffering. There's no need for pain. Doesn't need to be a long, long process. Doesn't have to take hours. It can take seconds to minutes. It might need to be done multiple times. Maybe it comes back a bit stronger the next day or the day after that. Just keep repeating the process. Notice the thought, allow it to go. Choose a different thought. We only see these things because we've programmed our own minds or have been programmed by family, TV, etc., our lives. We've been programmed by our lives to look for these things, to see these things. This is a way of unprogramming ourselves and reprogramming with new thoughts and new beliefs. So have a belief that you can work yourself with your unconscious mind. You can work with the universe or God or spirit or consciousness, however you want to think about it, through thought alone, through choice. I always get what I want without delay. Perfect body, perfect health, perfect wealth, perfect locations, perfect work, relationships. And you can pick things apart a little bit in those. They're very general topics. You can have a look a bit deeper. Contemplate, what does perfection look like for you? What would you already have if life was perfect? Different house, different job, different car, different body. So many things that would be maybe different uh, to what you currently have. Hey, those are your wants. Those are the things that you want. And the reason we don't go for them is because we think they're impossible. They're really hard to get. You don't have the time. We've got 1,000 excuses for why we don't have them. Hey, too old, wrong gender, didn't start early enough, can't get up at 5 a.m. I don't have time in the day to do it. I've got all these other things to do, da 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 da, etc., etc. Okay, I have those too. Okay. Or we believe we don't deserve them, so again, we don't try. We don't even leave the door open for the possibility that it could simply just happen for us without trying. Without additional effort, without additional time, maybe even less time than you're currently putting into something. We can intentionally choose our thoughts, our feelings, our beliefs. It's time to start believing that. And then reinforce them regularly, at least once a day. Know what you want. Okay, pick a desired weight. Pick a desired goal. Feel as if you have done it and achieved it. Have a little imaginal conversation, choosing words of gold and not choosing words of lead. Be the alchemist of your own life. I always get what I want without delay. And when you feel ready, I want you to open your eyes. And before you shoot off, one more instruction. Grab a pen and paper and write down all the things that you want. Start the phrase, I want, and then fill in a sentence. Write as many as you like. Shoot for the moon. Aim for the absolute best. Perfection. Truth. Don't aim at average. If you've got a 2-bed house, maybe all you need is a 3, but maybe you want 3 bedrooms but with an acre of land. Maybe you just want 2 bedrooms with an acre of land. Maybe you still want 2 bedrooms but in a nicer location, closer to family, friends, work. The perfect job that you're aiming for, the perfect way of you receiving money in vaster quantities than you currently are. Again, as long as you desire that. Put down whatever it is you want. When you picture a perfect life, and there are perhaps gaps between where you are right now and where ideal would be, that is what you want. So a little additional bit for the video rather than the audio is a book I mentioned a few months back, and again it came up in conversation a few days ago. A book called The Energy Cure by Dr. William Bengstrom, one or the other. He came up with a method of his main focus actually was cancer, which was pretty cool. And it was one of the first books I'd read on kind of treatment through intention, treatment through kind of simply mind work. Okay, as before I kind of did anything on Reiki or anything like that. Okay, and it was before I really started working online. So this may be 2017 ish. So maybe 7 or 8 years ago. Wow. Probably first read that book. Um, and I read it again last year sometime or earlier this year. And in the back of his book, he basically describes the method. There is a course you can go and do and kind of become officially qualified, but there is a method in the back of the book. And I mean, you couldn't charge money for doing it unless you're qualified, or call yourself, I don't know, whatever he calls his students. But essentially, the method is having a list of things that you want, and it suggests 20, and memorizing them. Memorize these 20 objects of your desire, okay? Things that would bring you joy, peace, happiness, freedom, essentially. Okay? And it's going to take a little while. It's going to take like a few minutes of practice per day. But once you have memorized the list, so let's say 1 to 20, you then start practicing the list in a bit of a random order. And you're seeing a picture in your mind as you're doing it. So let's say you desired a new computer. So you'd have a picture of a laptop. Okay. And let's say you desired a new car. So you'd have a picture of that new car, BMW, Mercedes, or, I don't know, Tesla, whatever it might be. Okay. You'd have a picture of that new car in your head. And you'd have pictures of all these things in your head. And as you got better and better, you would start speeding up the cycling. Okay. And he called it cycling because you're just going round and round and round in a random way, these 20 desires, these 20 wants. And then he said, one of the next steps is once you've achieved that desire, once you've achieved that want, you cross it off and you put a new one in, and you add that to your repertoire. So you always have 20 wants, and you just practice going through them in your mind as fast as you can. And he was treating I don't know how much he did with people and cancer, but he certainly, in the book, he talked about his experiments with mice and how he taught his sociology, because he was a sociology professor. Probably, I think he still is, a sociology professor in America somewhere. And he taught his students how to do this. And they also got good results with the mice. Okay. They were reversing cancer in mice. Okay. Incurable cancers in mice. Um, and, they went, I don't know if his students went off to do anything else with that, but he certainly started training kind of general public and whoever else wants to go and do his courses. They're only in person. They're only in New York, and if anyone, but even just reading the book and having the process, just hang on a minute. All I need to do is write down 20 things that I want, 20 things that are going to bring me joy and happiness. Create a little picture of them in my head. Okay. And that might take some time to kind of just build that little process to make it smooth, and then speed it up. And then speed it up as fast as I can. Okay. And it's just like, okay, these images are going to flash into your mind for a fraction of a second and then they're gone. Next one comes in. Okay. And basically that's all we're doing with films and TV anyway. It's just, well, it used to be 24 frames per second. It's probably 50 or even 100 frames per second now, for TV broadcasting. So you're just getting 100 pictures every second flashed in your eyes. Okay. Okay. And it's hypnotizing. Okay. That's why it can be a bit dangerous to what you watch on TV and what you consume through our phones because of the picture rate. Okay, we're just getting constant pictures in our eyes, and it hypnotizes us. Okay, so we can be intentional. We can pick the gold and hypnotize ourselves with gold thoughts, things that bring us, positive feelings, rather than things that bring us not positive feelings, which is what we have a tendency to do. So it's quite a lot of stuff in there, quite a lot of stuff to unpack. Okay. The main key is choosing your thoughts, become aware that we have this belief of, I do not always get what I want, even though we are and always have been. It just looks like we're not getting what we want because it feels bad in some way, shape, or form. Okay. That feels wrong. Therefore, it's not what I want because it makes me feel sad or angry or frustrated or impatient or um, upset in some way. Okay, but it is what I want because it's showing me my belief. It's showing me, okay, this is showing up in my life. It must be something that I want. I have a belief that I want this, okay, an unconscious belief that this is what I want. Right. So what do I need to do to change that? Okay, I always get what I want, so I'm going to choose to want something else. Okay, it doesn't have to be the opposite of what you've just experienced. Okay, it could be a car. Okay, it could be a nice house. It could be a nicer job with more money. Okay, it could be improved relationships. Okay, it could be perfect relationships with perfect people for you. So choose what you want. The menu. Again, I'm going back, reaching back a couple of years. Okay, there is a universal menu with everything that you could possibly want on it. It's like the sweets in Harry Potter, every flavor beans. Okay, there is there is every flavor desire. It's all there. Every single possible desire is on the menu. Right? You just need to look at that menu and go, I'm going to pick that one, that one, that one, that one, that one, that one. Okay, pick as many as you like. 3, 5, 10, 20. Okay, and again, as I mentioned, this treatment method that this guy developed, 20, but it doesn't have to be that many. So pick a few. Okay, remind yourself of them at least once a day. Oh yeah, I want this body weight. That's what it feels like to be that body weight. I want a 5K time of that and to be able to run it all the way through. Amazing. I want perfect health. Okay, chakras aligned, meridians balanced, any other kind of subtle energy going on sorted, mitochondrial function 100%. Okay, vision perfect, hair perfect. Okay, thick, luscious, long, soft, whatever kind of hair that you would prefer. It's there. Okay, certain amount of musculature, whatever it is. Okay, I want. Blah, blah, blah. Okay, be confident, be bold. That's the word I was looking for. Be bold. Um, Again, as a Brit, we're very self-deprecating. We're and again, I know not everyone's here British, but I think the French are remarkably similar in a lot of ways. Because I know we have one French member. Yeah, everyone else British, I believe. But we often look down on ourselves. Hey, we often shrink ourselves down and go, "Oh, I'm here right now, and I'm probably capable of here, but this bit, no." Okay? But we're capable of much more than that next step as well. So be bold in what your wants are. Okay, it's not just a small upgrade of the house; it's a big upgrade of the house. Okay? It's not just a small step in your body; it's a giant leap in your body. Okay? And again, even if we miss, we're probably a lot better off than if we didn't shoot at all. So shoot away. Good night.